beer lovers, and welcome to the Craft Beer Channel. Today we're down on the Bermondsey Beer Mile, but it's not a Saturday, so that's why we look pretty together. We're at Brew By Numbers with Tom, the founder, and obviously my man Brad. Before we get stuck into this amazing interview, we should make it very, very clear that Brew By Numbers are one of the 18 breweries featured in London Craft Beer Guide book that we released at the start of the year, and it makes a brilliant Christmas present.
Oh, I hear all the kids are after it.
Not the kids, Brad.
That's what they're asking for. Tamagotchis were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
They all want the craft beer book now, don't they? Where to drink in London.
I think we've got the wrong target market here. Welcome to the show.
The show?
The show? I don't know.
We've got professional light today,
we have.
so
yeah, that's
maybe
why
it is a show.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Finally, we're a show.
Thank you for having us, and happy
Thanks
birthday.
for coming down. Oh, thanks. Yeah.
So it's your 6th
It will be. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the 1st. So.
on the 1st of December.
Yeah.
That's a strange time to open a brewery, the 1st of December. Did you get beer out in time for Christmas? Or
I
just
think
in time
at the time we were
dry
making
January?
50-litre batches in the basement on Southwark Bridge Road. So we launched in a craft beer co.
Yeah.
Then, and I think we pretty much sold all of our stock to them, which consisted of a handful of corny kegs and a few other bottles. So yeah.
And that was that your saison that would have been?
Yeah, we launched with saison with Citra, it's number 1 in the series, and we had a Brett saison,
Brett saison.
and I can't remember everything else. I think there was a dark beer. There probably would have been a porter or a stout, and something hoppy for sure.
Yeah. So you guys started with quite a diverse and quite challenging range for 2012.
Yeah.
Most guys were just coming out with American IPAs and stuff like that. And that was from your home brewing days, and that's where Brew By Numbers comes from, the different buckets.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it sort of started as like the secondary wave of craft beer, sort of breweries coming through focusing on different styles that haven't been done before. At the time, there were quite a few breweries that have opened that were doing the pale ale, the IPA, the stout and the porter. So we wanted to try and hit it from a slightly different angle, and from sort of doing research and playing around with things, we were really loving like what was going on in the US at the time with people like sort of New Belgium and a lot of the second wave breweries. So that was an inspiration for us to sort of see how things had developed over there. Also at the time we'd had a very inspiring educational trip to Belgium. And,
Research trip, love
yeah,
those.
exactly, yeah. Also just back in those days, back in the old days of 2012, there was a saison yeast being passed around, and it went through the Colonel, Brody's, oh god, I can't remember who else was using it, maybe Beavertown at the time, and so everyone had a go with it, and then they passed it on. So
You always last in the chain, were you?
yeah, we sort of we got it, and it was a bit. I don't think it was kind of how it started out as. It was a bit different, but
Like Chinese whispers, it's
exactly
mutated.
it had mutated in some way. But we loved it. We loved playing around with it. For our style of experimentation, where we're taking batches and splitting them and doing different things, it worked really well as like a blank canvas that we could throw stuff at it, whether that be a peeled cucumber or some hops, or like a Brett version.
So saison is one of those beers that we always thought was going to be sort of the next sort of session style, and it's never really kicked off in the UK, and it's probably only you guys that keep it constant year round really in the UK still.
Yeah, I think there are a few breweries that do that. I mean, Burning Sky is another great example of a brewery that's sort of renowned for making these farmhouse and saison beers, but normally a large part of the production is fresh hoppy. It's what people want to drink as well. So yeah, it's something we've certainly become known for from our history of brewing that and making lots of different iterations and doing different versions with restaurants and so on and so forth. But yeah, you find that above a certain size, most breweries will sort of diversify, and they'll always want to make those sort of household favourites, the pale ales, the IPAs and things as well.
So now there's a huge trend for sort of brewing with adjuncts. You've never gone down the pastry route, but there's been cucumber, there's been cranberry, there's been huge amounts of coffee. Like you can get a buzz off your coffee stouts, which is kind of amazing. Where did that inspiration come from? Was that the restaurants you were working with, or?
Yeah, I mean, some of them would challenge us to use different things, to play around with different flavours. It's something as well we'd like to push beyond. We always like to challenge ourselves and see what we can throw at a beer and see what works and what doesn't. And I think there's definitely like a lot of things you can do outside of the pastry realm for sure. And I think there's also, I mean, what we love about Belgian beers is they refer to this thing as beer being digestible and easy drinking, and a lot of that is due to it having like a low finishing gravity, and so you wouldn't have that sort of richness to it that sort of made it sort of fatiguing, where you wouldn't want to drink more than a few 100 ml. So that's something that we've sort of carried through as well. So looking at things, so fermenting out fruits, fruit sugars, or like adding things like cucumber or other unusual things sort of helped keep the beer digestible.
Don't necessarily add sugar or anything like that.
Yeah.
An extra flavour without it. I've always noticed your beers, even though a lot of your pales and IPAs have been very hoppy, they haven't often been hugely bitter, but they have remained dry, particularly the pale ales. There's none of that, even though they're New England, they look like New England and they have a hop aroma of it, they're still very dry. So they are finished lower than perhaps other breweries would to keep it drinkable. Yeah, definitely. We love love that dryness. It's kind of a running theme through a lot of the beers that we make for sure. And talking of pintability, shall we have a taster of your triple dry hopped IPA birthday beer while we continue? Because
I'm thirsty.
we have 3 empty glasses.
I'm just salivating.
Here's one.
So why did you pick a triple dry hopped beer for your birthday?
Well, we wanted to do something different and push the boundaries again a bit. And I mean, there has been a bit of hype around the double dry hop thing that a lot of breweries have done. It's something we've done as well, and we've really enjoyed playing around with that. And so this is like sort of the highest point we could get to with it, I suppose, where it just like becomes just some
mostly
water with just this green substance in.
So as you pour that, tell me where does the third hop go? So you got one at the start of fermentation, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is the sort of the New England approach, and then you got one at the very end, I guess, which is like a super aroma charge. Where's the third one coming in?
Big charge at flame out, and a mixture of different types of Citra. So we'll use some Citra from 2017, which was a really good year for Citra. But we'll also use some like cryo versions of the hop as well to sort of really enhance that juicy.
And cryo is like the powdered, really easy to utilize kind of hop. Is that right?
It's like an extracted version that sort of removes some of the vegetable matter from the hop, so you're left with a more pure form with oils and
Purely
things.
the flavour stuff.
And it's something that's used a lot in the States. And
like surface area, like a massive surface area on it. Whereas powder,
Yeah.
right? So it's like
you can get them in pellet form as well, which is really useful. But yeah, very versatile. I mean, we'd love to be able to go out and go to a field and pick and choose individual, areas for getting Citra from. But unfortunately, that's not really possible with our scales.
This
so
size,
this allows us to sort of add more of that sort of fruit punch to the beer.
Well, this does have one hell of a fruit punch to it as soon as you crack that can.
I've just had a little bit on it. It's delightful.
Yeah, cheers, dudes.
Yeah. Cheers, happy birthday.
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
birthday.
I'm pretty happy with that.
You happy with that?
Juice bomb.
Absolute juice bomb.
It's crazy, isn't it?
That is crushable.
And yeah, it's nice because there's a hint of bitterness. It's fairly dry,
Yeah.
but then it's just like that orange juice bitterness on the finish.
I think it finished at like 1010 FG, so for double IPA that's relatively low. And we normally push it through a small period of lagering where we'll hold the beer at 0 degrees, and that will sort of help round out some of those alcohol flavours to sort of make it less harsh. But yeah, it's pretty hoppy.
So we're in the heart of the Bermondsey Beer Mile, which started off as a very niche thing, which only Beer Geeks knew about, and then exploded. And now I think has maybe calmed down a little bit again, or am I wrong?
It certainly went through the sort of teenage phase where it was
A rebellious phase.
a rebellious phase where there was stag parties, hendies and things coming through.
I remember people playing street golf quite often
Yeah.
Stag do's. Did you ever
What's
see
the worst that could happen with cars around?
I know, right?
That's it. So it went through a bit of a difficult phase.
And when you're serving ultra drinkable 8.5% double IPAs.
Yeah. I mean, the thing we sell most of is our 11 session IPA with Mosaic, and that's normally 50% of all the sales through the tap room. So people normally want to come and they want to try something that's light, a bit crushable.
So even on a stag do, there's a little voice in someone's head going, maybe we'll go for the 5% one.
The stag will get this.
The stag gets that, and everyone else is like,
Yeah.
no, way too strong. Even though, you know, you got 50% of the sales being one particular kind of pale ale, you've got barrels here that are producing some slightly more idiosyncratic. Is that the right word? What stuff is going on in here, and are you going to grow that side of Brew By Numbers?
Yeah, we are. Just taken on a new site in Peckham, and we're looking to extend our range of barrels, looking to re-ferment mainly Belgian styles of beer in wine barrels of different shapes and sizes. So it's something we're looking at growing for sure. These ones at the moment, I think we have some saisons in them. They're on like their sort of later cycles now, where we've put through lots of different things. We put a lot of them had a red ale going through it. A lot of that was in there for sort of 12 months or so, with different fruit added. Myself and Dave recently had a trip to the US, where we went to visit like Cricket Stave and things, and seeing like
Looking at the third wave of those guys.
Lots of notes about how they're playing around with things and what they're doing, and yeah, it's. I think there's a lot of fun to be had there. I see there's a lot of breweries in the UK that are sort of growing that area of their business, and so it'd be really interesting to see how that's taken on by the consumer.
Yeah.
Because it's normally been, for us so far, it's been a fairly niche thing. I think by the more people doing it and the more approachable it is to people, we'd like to see some more of it going into like restaurants and things as well, places that may consider it as an alternative to wine to serve with food.
Is that a market you see growing? Because we did with our podcast, The Bubble, we did an interview with MasterChef winner Tim Anderson, who also has a restaurant down in Brixton.
Yep.
And he was slightly downbeat on the state of beer and food coming together in restaurants. But are you seeing exciting restaurants coming to you or asking for different stuff? Or
Yeah, we've done some fun projects. I mean, we did one with Tim quite a long time ago, where we did a saison with matcha, and
Right, sounds
it's
like
kind
it,
of cool.
yeah.
it's kind of poured green, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean, we did a rye Brett saison for Restaurant Bar, which is the original site where Noma restaurant was. They moved out, and they made a beer-focused restaurant in its place. So I was lucky enough to go and taste that along with the food that they paired with it. We need to try some more beer.
Yeah, I think we probably do.
I'm just staring at the cans. Just try everything.
typical Brad, like a moth to the can.
Where should we go next? Probably stay light.
If you got a saison or something?
What was the 27?
Oh, you're 27.
Just because I like the number.
Why do you like the number 27?
It's a good number.
Good number.
7's a lucky number.
DDH table beer. I'm into that.
That's right. Yeah, so we're going from 8.2% to 3.5%, but we've almost got a similar amount of hops. So.
All right.
So yeah, this beer, just a bit of a backstory about it. It was brewed with Armisen, that are based just sort of outside Oslo, Norway, and their head brewer was our head brewer.
Yeah.
So it's sort of nice to work with people like that. And there's been a few people that have left here that have gone to set up their own breweries or have taken jobs in head brewer roles in other breweries as well. So it's really nice to sort of reconnect with them and just see
like
how.
a training camp, and you send your
Yeah.
your guys out into the world.
That's it. We released them. But yeah, he came and I think it was like a double brew day, so it was like 50 hect day. It's quite a long day, and he came and like dug out the mash tun and things. And
Wow.
so for a collab, that's quite a lot of work.
Yeah,
really.
usually it's a couple of beers and a bit of a
Exactly.
tweak on a recipe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit like someone from the royal family opening a hospital or something. They go in with a chrome-plated spade and they just dig the first bit out.
And then they get a plaque
and they have a
or get on the
picture.
can.
Yeah.
Typical.
Outrageous.
Then all the bulldozers come in and do all the real work.
Yeah. And did you
nice.
think about like the food or that it might go with like as a table beer like for dinner, or it was table as in you'd sit around a table forever and drink it.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to fall under the table if you
Right,
drank too much
yeah.
of it. I think that was the.
Is that where it comes from? That's why you stay above the table.
I see.
Above the table beer.
Above the table beer.
That doesn't sound as fun.
Yeah, I mean, it was the small beer that the kids would drink in France, right? That's sort of where it
Beer
was.
door.
Yeah.
No, not beer.
Not
Beer
beer.
door's 5%, mate.
Is it?
That's
Bloody
no
hell.
table beer.
Okay.
That's a premium lager
Oh yeah.
in a
don't-
stubby.
Don't let
I'll
anyone else
have,
tell you
I'll have
otherwise.
you know. Talking about like table beer as a new kind of potential new trend. What's hugely changed in the 6 years that you guys have been going, and what trends have you seen that you thought would stick and didn't? Or
Well, there's a new thing each year, right? And it's really interesting how it sort of moves in fashion. So I remember black IPAs were like the big thing that everyone made one year, and now I can't remember seeing one. I
Never
can't
seen
remember-
yeah,
it.
and
We
everyone
did,
went,
we
"Oh,
did
New
one."
England's just the new black IPA," and that was
Yeah.
wrong. That definitely took off.
What
Yeah.
are you predicting for 2019?
Crispy boys.
Crispy boys.
Yeah, I think it was a term coined by Chris Hall,
By Chris
the
Hall,
famous beer writer.
Yeah.
I think Keller pills, things like that, crushable things. I mean, these
Like
things
the
go in
Suarez,
cycles, right?
Notch, Lost and Grounded, kind of really dry, hoppy lagers. And
Yeah.
like table beers like this, which are bone dry but very hoppy. That's where you
Exactly.
think it's going.
I mean, we always like dry. It's a factor of our humour. It's just that sort of thing that we just it's something we always gravitate towards. So it's just like a thing that we do. I don't know. These things are always moving, and what's interesting about it is that like each year there's something different, and one brewery will do like well at making that, and then they'll continue to make those things, and then next it'll be something else, and hopefully it'll end up being this sort of really. The beer festivals of the future will be this really sort of diverse sort of mesh of different things where people have stumbled across different styles or recipes or flavour combinations.
That they've had a
Yeah,
connection to and they've run with it. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, like us finding the saison thing when we started out.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for having us.
Yeah.
I'm sorry we got off topic so frequently.
It's all fun.
But we've loved the beers for the last 6 years. You're having a birthday with a bang, which is good to see. And the move to the can, I think, is great and very exciting, and much more. I'm going to drink more Brew By Numbers in the park, which
Yeah.
I'm going to
something.
come visit you in Peckham.
Yes.
He's going
Down
to
the
come
road
see you
from
in
me.
Peckham.
Yeah, come say hi.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Peckham site won't be in this delicious book, which we wrote and is a great Christmas present. But you could scroll it in when you get it, maybe.
Such a good stocking filler.
Oh,
You need
if you've
quite
got a big stocking,
stocking.
yeah.
sort of
Or you
curve
can
it.
bend it and then,
You could probably bend it around a couple of oranges.
Around
Yes!
some chocolate oranges. There you go.
now we're talking.
So for all your loved ones, wrap your chocolate oranges in the London Craft Beer Guide this year. Cheers, Tom. Cheers, brothers.
Happy birthday.
Thanks, gents.
Cheers.
Merry Christmas
Cheers.
to everyone who bought the book.